Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now in today's video, I'm turning the corner a little bit on some EDC gear. When it comes down to it, I've been carrying the same sort of EDC setup for a while now, but lately I've had a lot of companies reaching out to have me look at different EDC gear, and that's exactly what we have here today. So in my hands here, this is the Rovyvon E8 keychain flashlight. A nice, small, but capable offering. Now, I have wanted to get my hands on a Rovyvon product for a long time now. It just hasn't quite happened. But when the people at Rovyvon reached out and said, hey, would you be interested in checking out this E8? I was like, yes, for a number of different reasons. First and foremost, I know they come with a great reputation. People seem to really like Rovyvon products. Second is, as I mentioned, trying to kind of mix things up, change things up a little bit. So today, we're going to take a look at this in detail. We're going to break this out of the package together, get a look at it, and then we'll turn the corner for some beam shots. And so with that said, I have a whole bunch to do and a whole bunch to share with you. And if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. Now, before we get too far, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Rovyvon who did provide this for review. And so, as I mentioned, things like EDC products and keychain flashlights, so incredibly useful, yet at the same time, I'm kind of just stuck in my ways a little bit. And here today, well, now as I get into this unboxing, I am going to have the opportunity to mix things up a bit. So here again, the Rovyvon E8, as you look here, very small, compact, but fully featured. Let's take a look. And so I have most definitely had products in a similar size class. This is going to be a little bit larger than a standard keychain flashlight, but at the same time, not too large. Maybe about the size of, a mini Bic lighter or something along those lines. As we take a look at what this comes with, you can see all of the packaging here. Pretty straightforward. Some clips, that's nice. And then just some user's manual guidelines and whatnot. So, cool little case, actually. This could definitely be a multi-use product. If you wanted to make a nice little EDC kit, this would work out extremely, extremely well for a small on-the-go med kit. This would be perfect. Have a couple meds in here, some Band-Aids, little simple things, some safety pins. Just a real cool little case, and I will definitely be putting this to some alternate use. Now, in full disclosure, I definitely need to brush up on this a little bit, so I'm going to take a quick look here through all of this and get an understanding of what we're about to get into. All right, and so now just the first thing, keep in mind, again, the E8, this is also called the Angel Eyes. There are a couple of different versions. My version here, this is simply white lights and then a UV version. There are other versions that have multiple different colors of LEDs, like for example, red, blue, and warm white. Now this one here is a little bit cooler in the primary light and then a little bit warmer in the secondary light. And that's the first thing. You'll notice that there are two heads. So one on the front of the light and then one on the side. So this is, and I'm going to start by saying, a USB Type-C rechargeable flashlight. So as you take a look here, USB Type-C recharger port on the side. This does not come with a cable, so you will need to be prepared for that, but I'll go into another little feature later. You'll notice that this is a clear body, so kind of a polycarbonate body, and a real nice aluminum bezel on top. I guess you could call it that. So very nicely done. Now this also does double as a battery compartment cover. Again, I'll show you that shortly. But as we get into it, the two main buttons here, one on top as I single press, well, that's going to be your moonlight mode. Now, I don't necessarily have any documentation on exactly what that output is. I'm not positive. It might be 0.7 lumens. I know the side is 0.7. I don't know for sure on the front head, but I will try to research that and annotate below. Now, a single press is going to get you in and out of that moonlight mode. Or if it's on and you long press, you'll notice it turns off as well. So the way you get into the higher output, you can single press, Well, that's going to be, again, your moonlight mode, or you can long press. And when you long press there, you'll see the twin heads there lighting up. So it's really that momentary press that does turn on more of your turbo mode. Now that is 700 lumens and has roughly 220 feet or 70 meters of throw. As you look at the side here, you'll see there is a battery indicator. So if you're not careful, you can definitely run that down. As I single press there, you'll see now that is turning red. Now I'm going to try to make it through this review, but I have not charged this yet. You see I've taken this out of the package in front of everybody, so that is a consideration. But you'll see as we move forward, there is a workaround here. Now the button number 2, you can see as I press on the side, that's going to be a warmer light. Again, that's going to be 0.7 lumens. Single press, again, that's going to go to that higher mode. This here is a 60 lumen output, nice and even beam. That's going to be great for reading. So again, just a dual purpose light, which is kind of nice. As you press through these, single press goes through those different modes, and then a long press and off. So the functionality just a little bit different between the two buttons. Again, as you just single press on the top button, that's going to turn the light on and off, where the long momentary press gets you that sort of high mode and then turns off. And then on the side switch here, this one you simply single press to go between the modes, and then a long press turns it off. So subtly different, but at the same time cool. Now back to button 1, if I triple press here, that will do a tactical strobe. And button 2, if I double press real quick, it should go to UV mode. But because my battery at this point has run down to a certain voltage, it will not turn on the UV light. So I do need to charge this to get it up above. I believe they're saying 3.1 volts. And at that point, I should be able to run my UV. However, another feature of the E8 Angel Eyes, this can accept a AAA battery. So this little cover here, which I believe if I just pop this up, that is just a little bit stiff. Just a simple little flathead here. There we go. I bet you this will loosen up over time. Let's try that again. It is stiff, and I literally have like no fingernails at all. But you'll see as we open up this cover, so to get this off, you actually spin that to the side. Very interesting. So you kind of need to pay attention there. If you're not careful, you could probably cause some damage. I was expecting to pull this up. You twist that to the side, and you can take your AAA battery and set that down and in. So that is cool. And so at this point, as I show you this real quick, I'm going to turn the light on. You'll notice it is red, but that light has indicated green. So right now I am running off the lithium ion battery on the inside. You can see that. But while I'm in the moonlight mode and triple press, that will now flash green. I should be running off of the AAA, but I do not appear to be. And so apparently at a closer look, as soon as you install the AAA, I believe it switches the battery power. And so in other words, if I had this on the moonlight mode here, you'll see, yeah, that definitely there lit up green real quick. So again, I'm going to do that. As I turn this off, you'll see that red indicator is going to turn off. As I press this, there you go. So the green indicating that this is now running in the AAA battery power. Which now that I have enough juice, if I double press button 2 real fast, so we double click there, that is the UV mode. So this has a bunch of like intelligence built into it, number of different programming modes and things that you can do depending on what you're trying to do. So the fact that it's sort of dual fuel is really neat, and it will technically switch between the batteries depending on, you know, how much juice you have. It can automatically switch. You can manually switch it. The way you would manually switch is what I was trying to do. So again, if I turn this on with the moonlight mode and triple press, you'll notice that that does flash, indicating that it's not going to switch from AAA to the lithium battery, because the AAA right now is got more juice. So very, very neat. So at this point, you've seen the overall features. There are a couple last things worth mentioning, and that is the little clip assortment that we have here. So again, would I use this as a belt option? Hard to say. Would I use it as a keychain option? Definitely. So you do have a clip for a belt clip option. Looks to be pretty straightforward in terms of how this would clip on. There are a couple little locations throughout that looks like you can clip it at various heights depending on what you're trying to do. Actually, for me personally, I take that back because you do get limited by the LED on the side. So I would say you could either call it bezel up or bezel down. I'm going to choose bezel down here. And simply popping that into place pretty straightforward. That actually went on fairly well. Looks like it's pretty well centered, and that's going to do enough for me just to have a little pocket clip. Now again, I'm probably not realistically going to carry it this way, but I do like having that on there. But you do end up with a couple of different rings. So you end up with sort of more of that flat style split ring, or sort of rounded, depending on what you like. I will probably go with the flat version here. And just one last thing worth mentioning, you do end up with a spare USB Type-C cover. So as I get this finished up and outfit here with the split ring, that will pretty much put this part to a wrap. And so at this point, I am going to throw this on the charger, get it fully charged up, and we'll get into the beam shots. And so now, as we get into the field use with the E8, first I'm going to hit button number 1, a single press. This is going to be that moonlight mode. Now at this point you can see a very small amount of light, but at the same time about perfect for up close, generally speaking, reading tasks or things like that. Beaming it off into the distance, you really can't see much. Trying to hit my fence line off to the right hand side. Maybe you can pick up on that just a little bit, but not too bright. Out in front, not too much in the way of a beam. Now a single press, turning off the light. Now a quick double press, and this gets into the mode that allows me to change the different intensities. So here you can see this is the low mode. So here, beaming off, really not enough light to really see with the camera. But as I single press low to medium, that's the medium mode. Doing a pretty nice job, actually a good amount of light and perfect for navigation. Another single press, that's going to be the high. And then again, back to the low mode. A long press turns off the light. Now a long press goes into turbo. That's going to be that high mode. And you can see it does dim down. So as I long press here, that is sort of that highest mode. And at this point, beaming off into the distance. A decent beam overall, illuminating onto the side of my house, all the way along my property. That's just shy of 90 feet away. That's maybe more, I'd say closer to about 80 feet. And then off along the fence line. A good amount of light, nice beam overall, and great for general purposes. Now you can see at this point it is illuminating red, so that's a battery indicator, and it's subtle, but you can also see the body does glow, which is pretty cool. Nice little detail there. I do like it. Very interesting. Now on button number 2, here I'm going to single press on the side, and you'll see that is blinking green. But here, that's the low mode. So at this point, again, about enough light to read. It's similar in color temperature, and I would say overall, generally, about the same cast of beam, maybe a little less distance. At this point, if I single press again, that's going to be the next mode up, and you'll see nice and wide. This is going to be, again, really good for general navigation. You can see casting off not quite as much of a beam off to the side as with button number 1, but a nice beam all the same. And for a small light, it is generally doing a nice job. Now at this point, a long press does turn off that light. A double press, well, this goes into that UV mode. We'll test this again back inside. Casting the UV beam off into the distance doesn't do much, but that's not really the intended purpose of this anyway. So again, we'll test that when we get back inside. A long press and turns off. Now there are a couple of additional modes here. If I triple press on button number 1, that is going to be that tactical strobe, so kind of cool. And keep in mind the fact that this runs both off the AAA battery as well as the lithium. So very cool. All things considered, pretty neat little light. I do like it. And I think for the most part, it's pretty useful, especially for a keychain light in your general navigation and your general sort of searching needs. And so, all right, guys, there you have it. A look at the Angel Eyes, the E8 from Rovyvon. Now, a few things. First and foremost, there are a number of pros, in my opinion, a number of cons, and things worth discussing. Now, the pros. Awesome form factor. I greatly like it. I like the fact that it's pretty much that like sort of small Bic lighter size. It's just about perfect. It fits in your hand nicely. The button layout just fine. I like that it actually has the clip and also your ability to attach it to the keychain. I will definitely be using this as a keychain option. Not likely going to carry it in my pocket, but I don't think that's necessarily the intent of a flashlight of this size. I also do like the fact that it has unique features. Couple of really cool things. A nice general beam, but then the secondary LEDs, which are awesome. And going to the UV, for me, it's kind of take it or leave it. Am I really going to use that? Probably not, but I could see some people that would. Now, overall, I do think this is a neat flashlight. However, for me, I just struggle with it personally because it's a little more complicated than it needs to be. I mean, you've watched my channel, you've seen a ton of flashlights. This to me is, again, a little overcomplicated for what it needs to be. Just the way the buttons work, the operation, the fact that button 1 and button 2 operate in different fashions. I think the programming should be consistent throughout the flashlight. So a long press operates the same way on both button 1 and 2. A single press operates the same way for both button 1 and 2. That is not the case with the E8. They do differ. So in my opinion, that's a little bit of a miss. Now, the other thing that's just a little more troubling for me, this light has literally been like indicating red battery almost the entire time. Now, I haven't used this a ton, and at this point, it actually won't even turn on. It's literally out of juice. This thing has been out of juice almost the entire time, and I found it almost more confusing to have the AAA battery in here rather than just simply running off the lithium-ion batteries. I would almost prefer that the void space that's left for the AAA battery just consume more lithium battery. Give me more lithium battery life. I mean, this just runs out so fast. I don't necessarily see the benefit to having a AAA. I'm not like a prepper type. I'm not looking to put AAAs in my flashlight every time I need to go use it. I just want a simple, lithium-powered LED flashlight connected to my keychain. This is not going to be my primary light. It's going to be secondary. It's going to be on my keys. It's not going to be what I use constantly all day, every day. So for me, I really would just prefer to have some more lithium battery life. And again, at this point, it's literally dead. It won't even turn on. And I've only used it, for the most part, for what you've seen in the demonstration, plus a little bit other little testing time. So I feel like the battery life definitely struggles. And third, that kind of leads into the performance. So because the battery life struggles, I feel like you're not getting too much in terms of the length on the runtime for your turbo mode. It dims down to a lower mode, which is really like a high. I feel like the double press to get into those modes is a little clunky. I do want to like this light, and I like it in concept. I just think there's a little bit left to be desired. And so again, with that, that's my take on the Rovyvon E8 Angel Eyes. I really greatly appreciate it. So again, thank you very much to the people at Rovyvon who did provide this for review. And for the rest of you, if you like this content, do me a favor, take a look at my Outer Limitless 2 channel, which is more on the tactical and firearm side of things. That channel is growing quickly. I have a ton of videos up there. So if you like what you see here on Outer Limitless, do me a favor and check me out on Outer Limitless 2. So all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.